Richard Childress says his team is in trouble, and let's see if y'all agree with my power rankings this week. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Happy Monday, folks. In case you missed it, last night I uploaded my Dover race reaction analysis. You can click up here in the corner or the link down in the description to check out my full Dover breakdown. Joe Gibbs Racing and Hendrick Motorsports made a statement yesterday. After a few wacky weeks of road racing, street racing, whatever we want to call Atlanta now, NASCAR goes back to a traditional intermediate oval, and HMS and JGR go back to dominating. The 4 JGR and 4 HMS cars made up the entire top 8 for much of the night. Those two organizations led pretty much every lap. They finished 1st through 6th. Ryan Blaney of Championship Team Penske made a valiant effort, drove from the back of the field up to 9th, but could never break into that Hendrick-Gibbs fortress. Obviously, there are a lot of variables in NASCAR. Big fields, a variety of racetracks, the playoff format keeps you on your toes, but Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing are generally the fastest cars in the sport right now. Richard Childress, owner of Richard Childress Racing, seemed to notice this as well. His star driver, Kyle Busch, raced inside the top 10, top 15 most of yesterday. They lost track position late, but rallied to finish a respectable 11th. But once Kyle Busch crossed the finish line, Richard Childress came over the team radio and made this strong assertion.
Gotta get some race cars. We are in trouble. Period.
I know what most of y'all are thinking, because I thought the same thing too when I first heard this clip. Mr. Childress, Richard, can I call you Big Rich? I don't think anyone calls him Big Rich. RC, you're just realizing this now? Kyle M.F.ing Busch hasn't been able to win a single race in your equipment in over 2 years. You should have had this epiphany last July. Austin Dillon has been like 30th in points for 3 years in a row now. Like, I understand Dover was kind of embarrassing if your name isn't Rick Hendrick or Joe Gibbs, but like, this has been going on for a while. Richard Childress Racing has had a lot of work to do for quite some time. One could argue before Kyle Busch ever got there. But that is where we are now. I mean, better late than never. I'm glad Richard Childress finally seems to be having this realization because, yeah, it's frustrating to watch a future Hall of Famer like Kyle Busch waste away the final years of his prime driving for a team that can't give him competitive cars on the regular. As we've talked about on this show, Kyle Busch is trying to take an 18th place car and run top 10, and that is very difficult to do in the next gen era. He's 15th in points right now. Every year, he's either made the playoffs like he did in 2023 or been in that playoff conversation last year and again this year. He's not way off. He just doesn't look like the Kyle Busch we grew accustomed to seeing during his prime years at JGR. It's hard to know exactly what Richard Childress Racing needs to do, but they need to do something because they have Kyle Busch at the end of his prime and they have him for next season. They picked up a team option. But this time next year, free agency is expected to be a little wilder. I imagine Kyle Busch will explore every opportunity available. This is the time for Richard Childress Racing to show Kyle Busch that he can be competitive, that he can contend, can win races in this equipment. They haven't been able to show him that consistently the past 2 seasons. I know RCR brought over some engineers, crew chiefs, technical directors from Stewart-Haas Racing this offseason. Austin Dillon has Chase Briscoe's old crew chief on the box this year. Doesn't seem to be making a huge difference. I keep coming back to the engines. ECR engines. Childress has their own engine shop. They build engines for obviously Richard Childress Racing, but also Colleague, Trackhouse. And remember, AJ Allmendinger, Colleague driver, blasted ECR publicly a few weeks back after his second blown motor of the year. Several Trackhouse drivers have criticized the lack of overall speed in their race cars this season. Sure, RCR could probably do better than Austin Dillon in that number 3 car right now. His last 3 points finishes, 29th, 32nd. This year he's 28th. He's good at only one track, Richmond, and it lost a date. Dillon has half the value now he had 3 years ago. But I ultimately don't think the drivers are the biggest problem there. I mean, you do have Kyle Busch and can't even get him into the playoffs in this equipment. So It's gotta start at the shop. Is it the engine shop? Is it the RCR shop floor? I'm not so sure, but hearing those strong comments from Richard Childress over public radio waves makes me wonder if future changes are coming. Is there a way this team, as currently constructed, can be whipped into shape and find something over the coming weeks, months, into next season? I'm skeptical, but I thought those comments from Richard Childress were quite interesting post-race at Dover. I will say, Kyle Busch, his last 3 finishes, 5th, 10th, 11th. Couple road course races mixed in there, but hey, that's some good momentum this summer. Kyle Busch likely needs to win to make the playoffs, but he's KFB. Never count him out. With that being said, it's the start of a brand new beautiful week, which means it's time for a brand new beautiful edition of my weekly Cup Series Power Rankings. Last couple weeks have been weird. Again, Atlanta, back-to-back road races. Last week, my rankings were strictly road course focused. This week, we're back to normal. Going to look at recent races, recent performance, recent result, and rank the top 10 best all-around race teams in the NASCAR Cup Series today. Let's get started. Let's just start with some controversy. There's one big name not in my top 10 this week. That is William Byron. Yes, I know he's second in points, won the Daytona 500. He's obviously had a top 10 overall season thus far, but recent weeks, he has 3 finishes outside the top 30 the past 4 races. I know he was running top 10 at Dover, got caught up in a wreck late, not his fault. That sucks, but he also hasn't led a lap in over a month. And he just saw an 80-plus points lead evaporate in what feels like record time. So William Byron right now, not in my top 10. At number 10, Christopher Bell finished top 5 at Sonoma Raceway 2 weeks ago, but at Dover he showed winning speed for the first time in what feels like weeks. Now the driver did make multiple mistakes, spun out twice on restarts, but in both cases he was side by side racing for the lead. Very encouraging speed the last few weeks from Christopher Bell. The 20 team just got to execute better. They're at number 10. At 9, I have Ryan Blaney. Got used up multiple times at Sonoma while running inside the top 10, so the finish does not reflect the speed he had. That's been the story of Blaney's entire 2025 season, but he followed that up with a strong top 10 finish at Dover despite starting at the rear of the field due to qualifying being rained out. Had to pass a lot of cars at a track that's tough to pass at. Was probably the best non-Hendrick, non-JGR car on Sunday. Ryan Blaney at 9. Kyle Larson comes in position number 8. At the last 4 non-super speedway ovals, he's finished top 10. He's gotten wrecked a couple times in recent weeks, but drove from the back to the top 5 at Dover, which proves that rumors of his downfall were greatly exaggerated. Larson at 8. At 7, I still have Chris Eat My Cinnadust Buscher. Dover was his worst race in a while, just didn't seem to have speed. But you look up at the end and he's 9th. He's still finished top 10. He has a 10th place average finish since Memorial Day. Almost won Michigan, was in contention at Atlanta, continues to grind out good finishes. Never too high, never too low, cool, calm, consistent. That's Chris Buscher. I've got him at 7. Alex Bowman in the 6th spot. He has finished 11th or better in 5 of the last 6 races. Strong 3rd place finish at Dover, earned 15 stage points. Dover has always been one of Bowman's best tracks, but he entered this weekend under a lot of pressure. Right on the playoff bubble, right on the cut line as usual. He extended his points lead quite a bit. Well done. Love seeing that kind of poise under pressure. Alex Bowman at 6. Top 5. I'll be honest, I'm a little worried ranking Tyler Reddick this high, just because I'm not convinced this team is all that great at the conventional ovals right now. But since these rankings are mainly based on recent performance, I mean, you can't deny Reddick's got some great finishes recently. 12th at Dover was okay, but before that, he had finishes of 3rd, 4th, 6th the past few weeks. Really good road course racer, got some good finishes there. He's still top 5 in the regular season points. I'll put him 5th on my power rankings this week. At position number 4, Chase Briscoe makes the cut. 1 at Pocono, then caught up in the big one at Atlanta, flat tire at Chicago. 2nd at Sonoma, 2nd at Dover. Quietly now, Chase Briscoe is tied for the 3rd most top 5 finishes this season in his first few months with JGR and crew chief James Small. Now again, these rankings are largely based on recent performance, but I have to look ahead 1 week, heading to Briscoe's home track, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The vibes are good. I expect the 19 team to contend once again. Ty Gibbs comes in at 3. I've been saying for weeks that Gibbs is legit, and he continues to prove it. Over the last 7 races, he has an average finish of 8th. He's led 60 laps in that span, and perhaps most impressively, he has climbed from 27th to 16th in the regular season points. He's in the running for $1 million this weekend at Indianapolis. Every single week, he's qualifying top 10, he's running top 10, and now he's finishing inside the top 10. Chris Gabehart helping this team out, obviously providing a boost. Ty Gibbs has been the biggest mover of the summer. He's been the biggest mover on my power rankings recently. But now it's time for the top 2. You could make a good argument for either of these guys, but I have Chase Elliott in the 2 spot. 4 top 5s the last 6 races, led the most laps at Dover, but this team coughed up track position twice. Once, mistake on pit road. Second time, it was a questionable strategy call late in stage 3. They could have been in Denny Hamlin's position, playing defense, clean air, holding off Bell, Briscoe, the rest, but instead they were out of the picture on those wild late race restarts, came home with a solid 6th place finish, could have been a lot more. Again, you could make the argument that Elliott should be 1 on this list. He's been so consistent lately. He just took over the regular season points lead. Again, he led the most laps at Dover, but he also started on the pole and took advantage of that clean air, while Denny Hamlin had to drive from 13th to 1st, still led over 60 laps, and ultimately took home the trophy. Elliott has 4 top 5s in 6 races. Hamlin has 5 top 5s in 7 races. 2 wins in that span. He now has 4 on the season, most in the NASCAR Cup Series. He's now stacked the most playoff points, at least for the time being. He's 4th in the regular season standings. Remember, he missed Mexico City, or he'd be at least 3rd. Denny Hamlin is in the top spot this week, but again, it's tough, it's close, it's tight between Hamlin and Chase Elliott. I'm looking forward to them battling potentially for the win this weekend at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. 2 great drivers, current stars, who've never won the Brickyard 400. Could be an awesome battle. I hope we see that this weekend. There's my list. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. That's going to do it for this episode, folks. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more NASCAR content day in, day out, every single week, all year long. And a big thank you to my Patreon supporters for continuing to help this show grow every single month. I will see you again tomorrow. Have a great rest of your Monday, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in.